Ayuda o Abante, Usapang 4-piece, AKAP, AICS, and Tupad. Which of these programs really deserve to be sustained by the government? Greetings! Today, we will be tackling about the underlying issue about the financial aid programs offered by the government in the Philippines. I am Jirain Razalo, your host for this podcast. Together with me are Ronald Britannia, Maribeth Santos, Kyra Galvan, Carla Mendoza, and Aliyah Masiba. Good morning, guys!
Good morning!
Good morning, everyone! Okay, so as you all know, government programs like 4-piece, AKAP, AICS, and Tupad support people in poverty or crisis. However, many beneficiaries tend to rely too much in these programs and really do not develop skills or the opportunities needed to improve their lives permanently. Now, how can the government provide the help to these people without them making dependent on these programs and teach them skills on how to stand on their own? But before that, let us talk first about what really are these programs. First is the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program, or known as the 4-piece. So this is under the Department of Social Welfare and Development. This aims to break the cycle in poverty by investing on the health and education of the children in families in need. Second is the Ayuda para sa mga kapos ang kita program, or known as the AKAP. This is also under the Department of Social Welfare and Development. So this aims to provide financial assistance
to workers whose salary does not meet the minimum wage.
And then the third one is the assistance to individuals in crisis situation, or known as the AICS. So this is also under the Department of Social Welfare and Development. So this aims to provide one-time financial assistance to families experiencing unexpected crises such as medical emergencies. And lastly, we have the Tulong Panghanap Buhay para sa ating displaced or disadvantaged workers. These are known as the Tupad. This is under the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE. So this aims to provide a short-term emergency employment to the displaced or disadvantaged or even the underemployed workers. With all these programs offered, who are really the real target beneficiaries of these programs, and which one are the most deserving to be sustained by the government?
So actually, Jerain, 4-piece has set its beneficiaries to people that has an age of 0 to 18 years old, and then pregnant women in the household. But I think 4-piece should set a filter that would only accommodate people that is really in need of this program.
Financial assistance.
Yes.
I agree with you, Aliyah, because it's really crucial to carefully select the beneficiaries so that we can really assure that those beneficiaries are the most deserving one to receive the assistance that the program offers. How about you, Marie? What's your take on this?
Well, I also agree because I believe 4-piece currently has an issue on that. Because not everybody, especially those who are really poor, can actually grant or be part of that program. There are many other people who are relying on broker system or even false information or the information they have given to the system, which made them to acquire that program. So it's really necessary for the government to take secure and necessary methods to ensure that those people who are really poor or marginalized would be given or be part of the program instead of those who are falsifying their information or information.
So speaking of your idea, Maribeth, I have also known a lot of people that falsifying their information just to get in the 4-piece. So many of them just spend it over their what do you call luho. Yes, so actually that is one of the reasons why we need to filter out the people. So
How about you, Carla?
I agree because Ayuda, not just for peace in general, can be corruption can exist there because you could
subject
falsify the
corruption.
information like how many family members are there in your family or how much is your monthly salary, annual salary. So corruption not just in the for peace
But
for peace
in
concept
Ayuda.
but also in Ayuda in general. Not just also it can happen in Tupad, can also happen in AICS and AKAP.
How about you, Ronald? What's your take on this?
I really do agree with them that we should carefully filter because there are many or some that are lying about their actual status just to get their to have yes that and they should carefully or they should carefully filter and inspect the people who's applying for the ayuda.
I think also that we should, these programs should target to inform those who really need it, because I think that the ones that really need it are not informed enough of these programs that they couldn't avail it, and the ones that are availing it are the ones that who doesn't really need it.
So I agree with you, Aliyah, because why should you avail of that ayuda if you can really sustain yourself? Paano naman yung mga deserving talaga, yung mga walang-wala?
Yeah.
So yeah, why?
Yeah, exactly. Plus, that program can really alleviate the situation of many Filipinos. As we know, there are a lot of people who are just living on the streets because they don't have enough financial ability to actually even make a living for themselves, create or have a shelter to protect them. And so this program is really really effective if it is implemented in the right way.
So, regarding the 4Ps, no, we really need to implement it in the right way. So, that's why we need to filter it. We need to really choose the right people. And also, the people who applied should know their stand. Like, should they really apply for peace? Do they have the financial capability? No, they have to think of others, no, that really need the ayuda. So, that's why we really need to filter out not just us people, that also the government. They have the bigger role on this, so they really need to improve their system of choosing. Like, I have noticed a lot of issues, like some workers do not do background checks, or maybe the backer system, what we call the backer system, it's very prevalent here in our society nowadays.
And what's even more ironic with that, Kara, is the process in applying for 4Ps is actually very long, it's very tiring, but the way they filter is not really effective. So, guys, government filtering out these information or finding the right people who can acquire this program doesn't mean that the process should be long and should take a lot of days to even acquire. Like, for example, processing your birth certificate, for instance, or other requirements. But rather the government should take for other initiatives or even more effective yet fast qualifications or the process of this program.
With that, the government should also be really responsible with the filtering out, because I know someone whose family is part of the 4Ps, but then you can really tell that they are a bit capable with when it comes to financial, but they are part then yes, and then they are part because one of their family friend is part of the government, and they like what you call backer system, so they were like
That's really absurd.
yeah, so like it's really because, and you know, in fact the money from the program
It's
also
from our
came
tax,
from
right?
from the taxes of the people, so that's really
So
absurd.
in the end, it's really about connections and
yeah,
politics.
it's all about
I think aside from filtering, I think we should really implement validation, so that we can avoid the backer system, and the validation should be strict enough to avoid the backer system.
Exactly, but then again, that's the root of that problem is our government or the Philippine government system, because there is a lot of corruption going on.
I also agree with that because earlier, while I was researching, I scrolled on TikTok and there was a video of a social worker. She was talking about her experience with the client or the person, which says that that person wants to falsify the paper with saying that the sweldo, his or her salary should be lower for enable for him or her to qualify for that ayuda.
It's really sad.
And
Yeah, sometimes people really have to have a limit with their greed, because it's not only them that's struggling. There are a lot of people who don't even have a house or even can afford 3 meals a day.
So what
I think that the SWT should inform these homeless people, because they are homeless enough, so they wouldn't know through social media about these programs. So I think they should really be informed through talking to them face to face, so that they can avail these programs.
I agree because in the first place, sila naman yung target na mga beneficiaries, hindi naman tayo.
So I totally agree with you, Aliyah. No? So the government should also include this in their initiatives. Like the people, those in need of these programs, should be well informed. They should inform them to be able to reach the target people needed sa program. And also, I've noticed one thing about 4Ps. No? So once they get inside, also they give out money na. So one thing is, like they don't have a monthly liquidation of what they use of the ayuda itself. So I think we really need that, no, to ensure that they are not spending it in their luho. They're really spending it for their education, for their meals, for other needs in their family. So I think that is the reason, no, why they availed 4P. So why it's crazy that you're availing a program just because you don't have a budget for your luho. Like,
that's great.
It's really like when it's release time of the money, they spend it on restaurants,
Shopee.
Shopee.
It's alright to buy like a little of luho, like for example, treating yourself because you accomplished or just had or any accomplishment, but to the point that you're actually buying an iPhone 13 or something very expensive.
That's really crazy.
But to be honest, financial literacy is also something that we Filipinos need to learn.
Exactly.
And to think that others are suffering and they really need that money, but you're using it for your own special happiness.
Like, don't they feel guilty?
Happiness.
Exactly. But now, how about we talk for the downside of 4P's program? Like, what could be its cons? Like, it's a very effective program to actually alleviate the financial status of the Filipino families. But how about its cons?
okay, so one thing I've known, no, the downsides of 4Ps is dependence.
Exactly.
Like really, many people really depend on that. Like they don't get a job anymore because they have the 4P, so-called 4Ps. Like they just wait for the money to come to them. They're not working for it. Like it's not supposed to be like that, guys. Money is hard earned. It's not like a easy like you can get it really easily. Like what my parents said, like money don't grow on trees. Like it's just like that, no. Like they're just waiting the money to grow on the trees and they just get it, no.
And also, other people are working for that money that is given to them because it's coming from the taxes of the people.
Yes, exactly. From the program name itself, it's just for pantawid, but it's not there forever. So they really have to work. It's just there for temporary uses because they don't have maybe a stable job for now. So it's really important that Filipinos also learn how to take initiative or try to work harder so that they can at least alleviate themselves.
I've also read that when you avail 4Ps, it has a limit of 7 years. But I think 7 years is too long. I think that something should be implemented to recheck their family status every
exactly.
month or every year, so that we can see if they have improved or they still need the program.
So it can be moved to another family who actually needs
to
that,
give
right?
chance to other families who still in need.
Yeah.
Because to think of it, you'd also depend on the money that 4Ps gives, which is only 700 per month and
Yeah.
300 per child rather. So it's not really enough to go through the day or go through the week.
Yeah, it's simply just for survival.
So like people should be really mindful that even if you receive the assistance from that program, it's really important that you have the initiative to find ways to find work, to make money, because that help that they receive from that program is not permanent. So they really have to be initiative.
Okay, so one thing also, the downside of the Ayuda, not just the 4 piece itself, no? Like, it drains the Philippine economy. Like, instead of spending it on infrastructure, like what you really need, what our country really needs, it gets spent on Ayudas that some people don't really need, no? Like, it's not supposed to, like, we need to have the balance, like, balance for the needs of the people and balance for the need of our country. So what do you think about that, Ronald?
Yeah, because when you actually if you use that budget into infrastructure, that equals to more workforce, and more workforce is equals to people who's getting some job to provide for their families, instead of just waiting for the ayuda to come to them without actually doing anything.
Exactly, and money actually runs faster in the economy with that way. Plus, I also believe with what you said, Kyra, Ayuda is not needed. Oh my God, sorry. Ayuda doesn't have to be there always for the people. Rather, it should be for like the AKAP program. It should be there only for emergencies or crisis, whenever there is really an extreme need of Ayuda, so that at least the government can budget it on the infrastructure and the
Or
other,
others like healthcare.
healthcare especially.
So speaking of Ayuda, so I'm not talking about 4 piece anymore.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the whole situation of Ayuda. So I remember one time when we were at school, like classes were cancelled because BBM went to the country, so to our school. So like they were distributing a large amount of money. Like considering that we have economic crisis in the Philippines, like they're distributing Ayuda. Like even like I know some people na they are really well, like you can know na they are really well off. They have a car, they have a grand house, but they receive that 4K, no, like what the I just say what the heck.
During that time, there's a typhoon. The people in Luzon, and then like they're here in Mindanao, and then
They're, like, very happy.
money, and then the people in Luzon is experiencing a typhoon. So why not actually they give some support to those, like provide the ayuda, or
Instead
give
here,
the
those who actually
ayuda
needs it.
instead to the people who are experiencing the typhoon, instead of here just for
So
like,
what was the purpose of that actually?
yeah.
Was it for campaign or something?
No, we don't know.
We're not attacking anyone here, but where's the logic, guys?
And during that time was the typhoon in Mindanao or
Yeah.
In Luzon. Yeah.
It's not making sense.
And to think it really disrupted classes.
It disrupted our incomes.
Exactly.
Like considering they can just easily access the place itself, like they could just not book a plane ticket just to go to Mindanao. Like they could just easily go there and just provide reliefs. Like I've seen news na or like TikToks there na they are really like no reklamo, like why is the government not there? Where is BBM? And said BBM I was saying na the government does not have enough funds. Like
But they are out here distributing ayuda for the
Thinking that it's 4K per person. It's not.
Yeah, I still remember when I actually rode a jeep because we had to do something for our program in school. I actually planned to go to Kaisano, and it was very traffic in La Paz, and especially in USTP because it was held in USTP, and there were actually a lot of people who planned to go there because they heard there is actually an Ayuda. Even people with jobs that are that has stable jobs actually went there just for that 4K Ayuda.
They really know that, like, instead of giving it to people who are really in need,
Yes.
it's like they're giving the money for them for the people to, you know,
To know them.
to trust them,
So
gain
in
their
short,
trust, like
campaign.
Like, can't they see the status of our country? Like, can't they see that we're struggling? Like, even jobs, like, the bare minimum, like, some jobs don't have the minimum salary.
Well, I
Like,
think they're aware of that. They just don't
And to
want to
think
fix it, or they don't want to spend money to fix it.
And to think that Philippines is indebted enough.
So it's a political circles all over again.
yeah. Okay, so for icebreaker, we have here, Leah, kindly get the fishbowl. So we have here a bowl of questions, quotes, bowl of quotes. So these are quotes that each of us will be, you know, making a definition or integrating a meaning of for each of these quotes. So we will be starting with Ronald, and then we go in this way.
I thought we'll start with Aliyah.
Okay, Leah, so please.
Okay, I will pick, but I will not be starting.
No, you will be the one to start
Okay,
it.
so please read the quote.
And
Then answer.
Okay, wait. Okay, so I didn't get there by wishing for it or hoping for it, but by working for it. So it's really in connection with our discussion that these people shouldn't depend on Ayuda, but all people are suffering and struggling. Not all, some are higher, but I think that we should really work hard for something to get it and not depend on these programs that are draining the economy and is not really justifiable anymore.
This also highlights the importance of efforts and action in making success. Like, it's really it's really crucial that we have to make an action in getting where we want to, and just not depend on others, on the help of others.
Yeah, just like your dreams. If you actually want to be a nurse, then you'll actually study more to at least pass the pass the entrance exam and actually be a nurse soon, right?
Yeah, so, okay. Proceed, Carla. You can proceed.
I agree with that because no one could help you but yourself.
Exactly.
For example, in exams, you could not pass the test, or you could possibly not pass the test if you just post on TikTok, manifest, but you should help yourself.
Yeah.
You should study, you should work hard for that, for the
In the
goal
end,
you
it's
are
your
aiming.
choice.
In the end, it's your
Yeah,
choice.
because if it's really that easy, then everyone could do it. Then that's why we really should work hard to get what we want, because it's not like one tamad, we just waiting for the guava to drop into his mouth. We need to do something to get that guava, and work hard for it.
So, speaking of the quote, which is, what was it again, Aliyah? Okay, I didn't get there by wishing for it or hoping for it, but by working for it. So, we all know that hard work is really the fruit of success, no? But actually, it overlooks the factors, no, such as privilege, access to opportunities, and social connections. So, hard work is a must, but also we need to have the environment for us to succeed. So that's what I think about this quote, that there's something na hard work is not enough in our society nowadays.
Okay, so to sum this icebreaker, so success is not just, handed out. Success is the result of your efforts, of your hardships. Now, let's move on to the second program that is also offered by the government in the Philippines, the Ayuda para sa mga kapos ang kita program, or also known as the AKAP. So this is also under the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or the DSWD. So Kyra, what's your take on this program?
So what I know about AKAP is its target beneficiaries are those people who did their salary that meet the minimum wage or is in the minimum wage. So actually my take on this is it is not actually necessary. This program it's not actually necessary because stating that they already have a job, which is they can provide for their families itself. They have the capacity to provide. No, I think it's understandable na it exists. Pero considering that our economy is very low and the debt are high, like we have billions of debt, like considering they still have this, what you call program to provide for the minimum wage. So why didn't they improve our economy so the minimum wage will increase? Like we can earn a lot of money, like especially what I see from my parents, they always complain na minimum lang yung salary namin, kaya like they have their reasons and that. So it's really the economy's problem. So why don't they fix it? Why do they have this program anyways? Like our economy is strained, so why strain it more?
I agree with you, Kyra. I think it's really unnecessary to have this because instead of giving this money to those minimum wage earners, yes, it's not enough. It's really kulang to provide, but they can provide. I think that instead of giving this money to them, we could divert it to other things that are needed for this money.
Okay, so regarding that, Kara, I think the reason I'm not really pro with this program, but I think the reason why they have this is because there are actually, as you know, there are minimum wage earners, right? So for example, in Manila, nurses there actually have a salary of, for example, 18,000 pesos, and the cost of living in Manila is very high. Just the condo or the boarding house itself, plus the gastusin or the food for every day is really not enough. For example, the others might have only 2K savings. So what will they do with that? And also, currently, inflation is very high. I believe it was at its peak earlier this year. And inflation is very hard to resolve. And I think that's why they have this program, to at least help the people who are minimum wage earners for even just a little time. Maybe until they raise or the government alleviates our inflation issue or crisis. But then again, the government should actually be fast or make amends into this issue, because it's really it only drags our economy down more.
Also, to support your statement, like it is really, I understand that it is really useful to people like the nurses, pero I think AKAP is like they do it long term. Like it should be na short term to just provide for the nurses during because they have the minimum wage. So it's like what you said, the government should make amends.
Yes.
But why is it taking so long? That's why it strains the economy, and that's what makes the what we call AKAP unnecessary.
And this program doesn't really accommodate everyone that is minimum wage earners, because many of Filipinos are minimum wage earners. Because of our economy, it is very small, and it doesn't really accommodate everyone that needs it. So,
yeah, exactly. I'm not really pro with that program, but I think that's the reason why they actually created that
program. So,
plus, I also believe it's not rightful or justifiable if you would actually increase the earners of, let's for example, blue collar workers, because maybe in the standard of work or occupation, many would actually prioritize those in the healthcare, for example, surgeon who are in high demand. So of course, the government has to balance those.
So it's really all about opportunities, no, to one. So that's why I think, that's why the government should build opportunities for kuan.
Yeah, I do agree because if the people already, example, they have the work, so they have the means to make money. So the government should. I'm not really that expert when it comes to this program as well. So I think the government should improve or should like help the people instead to, you know, with their jobs, give them more, give the people job opportunities, and then, you know, just like improve the do something to improve the economy for the people.
I agree with Doreen because when it comes to Ayuda, we already have 4Ps. What is the need for making more Ayuda? And that is why we are called the Ayuda Nation because we have a lot of Ayuda.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I agree with that because instead of spending how much 26 billion, di ba, for AKAP, instead of spending that to give that to the people, then why not give it to another department who deserves a better funding? Because giving that money alone could really help the economy make it better. Because as I observe, the Philippines really has a lot of problems, not just in, like what we said earlier, infrastructure, healthcare, the education system, a lot. And that money could really help them instead of just spoon feeding it to the people, just giving it as ayuda.
Yeah, I think that this 26 billion could really help our food and agriculture department and our healthcare services to be improved and to be better.
Exactly. So plus there are a lot, as you can see guys, there are a lot of displaced workers, for example, college graduates who actually don't work or in align with their courses. And I believe that's because there are actually people who are in desperate need of finding financial ability to sustain their family or themselves. So I think that's really something that the government should also resolve. Maybe, for example, the backer system and appointing people in high positions that actually does not qualify even with their credentials or ability. So it's really important that jobs must be aligned with the skills and perhaps the credential if they are capable or qualified to do the job or the work.
Yeah. Like, considering what Carla said, like our education system, like I've heard like last year, was it the education budget was, you know, what do you call that? Cut off, like some budget were cut off, like
Especially in state
state universities, no. Like that's how serious the situation is.
USTP was cut off 17 million.
Yes.
Considering that in the constitution it says that education should get the highest budget. But what happened now?
Deped is the lowest one,
The
right?
Deped
The
is
lowest
one.
budget.
DPWH was
Has
the
the
highest.
highest, yeah.
And
Ironic.
where will they use it?
Blood control.
I mean, like blood control is not even very effective.
Like supposedly, like we're using it for education to produce more professionals, like to make professionals to the betterment of our country.
Yeah, but regarding that, actually, the professionals who are actually very good actually migrate to another country because they don't feel like their abilities or skills actually align with the wage that's given to them here in the Philippines.
Yes. They think that they with the skills that they
Yeah.
have learned,
They're just minimum wage earners, imagine that.
Like even me,
they've spent many years to
Exactly.
gain that skill, and then the salary that they will get.
Yeah. Just get a master's degree
Your whole
Or
life,
teach.
you're
Yeah,
earning,
exactly.
spending almost millions for your education and then earning minimum wage.
Yeah, for
like even
Imagine
me,
that.
I would leave this country if this continues na.
Imagine for 4 years you'll be studying in nursing, that's like 180k pesos, and then you'll get 20k peso in your salary.
Enough to pay the tuition.
To sum it up, we do understand the purpose of the AKAP program, but we think that it is not quite necessary for us because the government should focus instead on improving the economy and providing more opportunities when it comes to job hiring to the Filipinos, and also may do some action to improve the salary that the earners will get.
Yeah, so they don't need the program anymore.
Yeah. So now for another icebreaker, we will do some fishbowl again.
With Carla.
Carla now because we're already done with Aliyah. So Carla, please do the honor. Then read the code.
You spin your own thread, you make your own clothes.
Can you repeat it?
So, to repeat it, you spin your own thread, you make your own clothes. For me, from what I have understand is that you are responsible for your actions. What you do is what you receive in return. Have you heard of the quote, you reap what you sow?
Yeah.
Yes. It will all just come back to you. And aside from that, I have also another interpretation of this quote. So you won't be able to make your own clothes if you don't spin your own thread. Okay, you can buy, but you cannot do something. You cannot achieve something if you do not do it. Which is also similar to the first quote that we have discussed.
For me, it is also about taking full ownership with your actions. You can achieve your desired success with your own efforts and actions. So yeah, it's about taking full ownership with your actions in life.
So I totally agree with you both. So it's like you take ownership of your life. Like when you spin your own thread, it's like you're taking actions in your life, and that will lead you to that decision. Like it's just the way the quote says, pero we actually need to learn to take accountability over actions, no? Since we have the clothes, we take accountability for it, we take care of it, we ensure that it's like that.
For me, I think it's on the process. Like for example, it says in the quote, you spin your own thread, right? So you have the choice to do your clothes however you want. For example, if you want a long sleeve or maybe a crocheted cardigan, you are the masterpiece of your own doing. So you can actually add some sort of creativity. So it depends on how you decide or how you make choices in life, and that shapes the identity that you have now. How about you, Ronald?
Oh, well, for me, how do I say this? Like, because you spin your own thread and you make your own clothes, the decisions that you make and you can't blame it to others. So if you made a mistake, you're the one responsible for it. So you should do something to make up for it and be better. This is what I understand.
So for me, I understand from this quote that you have control of your own life. So do what you can do to get the results that you want. So that to achieve the dreams that you want, do what you have to do.
Okay, so to sum it up for us, this quote emphasizes you taking the full ownership of your actions. You have the freedom to decide for your own life, but also you have to be mindful with the decision so that you can be able to really achieve what you want in life, because it's all about you being independent and self-reliant. Okay, so now let's move on to the third program that is also offered in the country. So the third program is the assistance to individuals in crisis situation. So this is also known as the AICS. So also under by the Department of Social Welfare and Development. So Ronald, what's your take on this program?
I think that this program is actually better than the first one because
What do you mean?
4Ps or the AKAP?
AKAP,
The AKAP.
because it's for
Immediate relief.
immediate and
Assistance.
assistance for those who actually needs it and it's an emergency. That's why I think that it's much better,
Yes, I do agree because
but
this,
short term.
yeah, this provide a financial assistance to families experiencing unexpected crisis like for instance in medical situation we cannot avoid the emergencies, right? So the family experiencing it can really have a malalapitan when it comes to experiencing some emergencies. They know they don't really feel that down when it comes to that situation because we have a program that is
That could help them.
that could help them.
Yeah, I also think that this is much better than AKAP because it will not create dependency because it is just short term,
Short term.
only for immediate response, and it can really help those people that are struggling when it comes to emergency situations that needs financial assistance.
Yes. So what about you, Carla?
For me, the AICS program is nice. However, it could really be prone to fallacy and corruption because you could just forge a document. Although it's not easy, but it is possible because AICS does not. From what I have searched, AICS does not require salary.
Like they don't have to present their salary
Salary
information.
because what if that person who availed AICS could really afford that, but that person just wanted to AICS is nice, but AICS is nice in terms that it could respond short term to emergency disasters. However, that fallacy, that con could be a strain to it.
I agree with that, Carla. It's really nice for immediate response, but it is very prone to corruption and also fallacy because it doesn't require for you to justify that you need this money and that you really cannot afford those bills that you have to pay. So
Yeah, I also agree with Carla. It is a very nice program. It is necessary because what if a loved one from a not so well-off family or someone who's struggling, a family who's struggling rather, actually experience death of a loved one and they need to actually prepare for the burial to respect the death, of course. So it's a very good program, but I think the government just has to improve or enhance some restrictions, guidelines, or the process in actually handing out the money for that program. For example, because that program is vulnerable to, for example, fabrication, right?
Yeah, so what I think about AICS, I also disagree with it, like considering it provides immediate relief. However, in the long term, it's not really sustainable. Like it's more on reactive, not proactive.
Yeah. Okay, so to sum it up, AICS, well, it's really good. It is a good program for immediate assistance to families who's experiencing unexpected crisis. But it's also important because with what you mentioned, they don't really, require the beneficiaries to present
Their proof of salary.
So they have to improve their distribution system so that they can ensure that the beneficiaries from that program is really deserving for that assistance. Okay, for our second to the last icebreaker. So, Alia, can you please get again our mahiwagang fish bowl?
Kyra will have the floor.
So now Kyra will do the honor.
Okay, so I have the quote right here. So it says that, give a man a fish and he'll live another day. Teach a man how to fish and he will live longer and sustainably. So this has become a cornerstone in our society nowadays. Like it talks about empowerment. However, in today's fast-paced um, world, no? Like, we're too focused on teaching a man how to fish. Like, we should consider, you know, its environment and how if they have access to these opportunities. Like, for instance, no, like, you'll say to people na, work hard, no, like, work hard and do well, be successful in that, but considering our society nowadays with like the opportunities, like, you're just gonna set them up to failure. Like, you're telling them that, but you're just setting up them to failure because the environment around them does not really, you know, like, they will live in that, like, considering a fish, they would not live if they are on the land. Like, they're supposed to have a better environment for them to succeed or live.
Yeah, exactly. So, yes, Jane, you're about to say so. So it also aligns with our topic, right? So, for example, if you'll just give an ayuda for one day to a person who's struggling financially, then he will just live one day, because once that, for example, 4,000 is up or it's spent, then there's no more for next day if that person does not have a job. So if you teach a person how to fish, it's a metaphor of teaching a person how to actually do hard work so that he or she can sustain themselves, and so by doing that they can actually make a living for themselves, and it will make them more sustainable, yes.
How about you, Ronald?
I agree with what Mary said, because if you teach a person how to, for example, like hard work or skill, that person will actually able to use that skill for the rest of his life, not just for one day. If you give him or her a temporary thing to do.
For that, I agree with you all that we should, instead of focusing on giving out something to them so that we can help them, I think we should shift the focus on teaching them how to work hard to achieve and get this financial stability, but also assuring that they are in the right environment, and we're not pushing them to work hard on something that they are set to fail.
And I agree with all of you. I agree with all of you. But we have the same point. So I just want to point out that instead of giving ayuda, why not encourage the people to be educated, to teach them. Yeah, teach them the skills. Have you heard of TESDA?
Yes.
So TESDA offers a lot of courses such as cookery, bookkeeping, carpentry, a lot of skills, and then you could get a job after that course. And it does not require a long time compared to college degrees such as 4 years or 5 years, and then you get a master's degree, but it could only take weeks, and then you have the skills. You could be equipped with the skills. I have known a person. She has took up housekeeping, and then now she is on a boat, and she is working there. So that opportunity could that skill that she learned could land her a job, and instead of getting ayuda, then why not learn your skill.
In short, this quote highlights that the support from other people is not forever. While it can surely help those people to survive a day, but it's not permanent. Try teaching people the skills, then they'll surely survive the long run. They can stand up on their own. But we have to make sure also that the environment we have to make sure that the environment can surely help them to learn that skills, to develop that skills more effectively. So yeah, let's now move on to our last program that
Finally.
that our country offers. So for our last program, we have the Tulong Panghanap Buhay para sa ating displaced or disadvantaged workers program, or also known as the Tupad. So this is under the Department of Labor and Employment, or known as the DOLE. So Aliyah, what is your take on this?
I think that it is somewhat necessary to have this so that we can help as we discussed in the quote that we had in our fishbowl, that we have to teach people skills so that they can work. Then if we have this program, we can help them so that they will have hanap buhay to provide for their families.
Yes. I also agree because this is really, I think, more better than the AKAP, right? Because this can give those people who are underemployed the job opportunities for them to have the means to provide for their families.
So what I actually think about Tupad, it is actually very useful compared to AICS and AKAP, because considering that it provides a, what's it called, job employment to people, which it provides, and also give them a job which could be necessary for them in the future, that it would actually help them to survive and maybe land a job or what.
Yeah.
Like a right job, like for them enough to elevate their situation in the family.
Yeah, in addition to also what Kyra said, I believe it is quite useful because for the meantime, there are actually college graduates here who doesn't have or cannot qualify for a job yet because due to requirements. And so, in the process of doing or participating in Tupad, maybe they could find their inner self, their passion, and to where they truly belong. They could take that time and even have maybe just a little bit of financial help, that financial mean that could help them during the process.
So Ronald, so what do you think about it?
I do think that Tupad is actually a good program because instead of just like the quote earlier, just giving them a fish, Tupad actually is giving them a job so that they're not just waiting for like an Ayuda. They are actually working for it, but it's not to the point that they actually
It's a stable job.
yeah, because it's only temporary. It has a minimum work of 10 and a maximum of 90 days. So it's not a temporary. It's not stable. It's only for temporary.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, Ronald. Something that I like about Tupad is the community service that is offered or rendered before getting the money. But yes, it's not a long-term solution to poverty because the projects that could be given to you may, as what you said, it's only 10 to 90 days. So it's not a long-term job or a stable job, and probably some could rely on it. And aside from that, it could also lead to corruption because what if the distributed money, from what I have heard, that there are government places that could corrupt that money and say that it's theirs instead of saying that it is from the government.
And it's also unconstitutional. It is not really approved and implemented to have this. It doesn't define the actual budget that is released, not like 4Ps that is really enumerated of the budget that they release every 2 months.
Then I believe that program is actually good for people or students rather during summer, right?
Yeah.
Because while they're studying during the 10 months from June to March, then in the summer at least they could have provide or help the community through the Tupad program, and then it could serve like a summer job, right?
In short, Tupad is just for a short-term assistance for the people to have for them to develop the skills for as foundation in finding long-term opportunities, job opportunities. So it's not really for people who seeks for a long-term job because it's just short-term assistance for them. So now, let's move on to our last icebreaker. So Aliyah, please get the fishball again.
Should Ronald or I?
Topic. 1 point ha. Bato, topic.
Ah.
Maribeth, please do the honor.
So the quote that I have got here is, what's this? Oh, this is quite long. Understanding money is part of being independent. You can't be self-sufficient if you're relying on someone else. So basically, this sums up the whole topic or discussion we had in this podcast, guys. So it is, first of all, it is important that we all have financial literacy, not just if we have money, we should not just buy our luho or other or our wants. We should think of investing our money or saving them up, and also most importantly, we should be investing on our skills, because these are our only weapon in surviving the real world out there. We need to have the skills so that we could land a stable and a good job to sustain ourselves and our family. And the second line here states that you can't be self-sufficient if you're relying on someone else. This somehow correlates our situation, us Filipinos, with the Ayuda thing, because no one can ever survive with just the Ayuda, because the government currently, we are all in a state crisis, especially in our community, so our government can't really provide us that much Ayuda. And plus, again, Ayuda is a short-term or temporary solution to a problem. It is not long-term, so we must actually find the initiative to land a stable job so that we can sustain ourselves using our own very skills. So what do you guys think of this quote as well? So Aliyah, what do you think of the quote that I have just read just now?
I think that it is important to understand the value of money, because if we do not know how to spend it properly, we tend to spend it on things that we don't need. And also the other line, that you can't be self-sufficient if you're relying on someone. If you do not know the value of money, then you wouldn't know how hard it is to earn it and to actually use it for your own good. So you have to know how to actually spend it right, so that you know that how important it is.
I agree with that, with what you said, bro. Because just like what Kyra said earlier, that money doesn't grow on trees, and we should really learn that money is something that all of us need. It's also crisis, and it also correlates with the crisis that we have right now in the Philippines. And I think we should be self-sufficient. We need to learn how to stand on our own feet instead of depending on others, because just like what I said earlier, no one is gonna help yourself. Even with the opportunities that are surrounded with you, or the help that is given to you, it wouldn't be achieved without your effort.
Because in the end, it's all about you.
So what I think about this quote is same as you all. So understanding money is part of being independent. So for me, financial independence is a must, but we also need to understand its value, just like Aliyah said. But in order to have the understanding of money, we need to be independent with our own money. So in the second line, you can't be self-sufficient if you're relying on someone else. So just like me, I live in a boarding house, so I can't be self-sufficient. I can buy my own food, spend my own money if I'm relying on someone else. No, I really need to work on my own feet so I could live, or I could eat 3 times a day.
In short, this quote emphasizes the importance, how crucial financial literacy for all of us, because you have to really know what to do and what to not do with your money when it comes to handling your money. And also, you have to be aware that you cannot just depend your life onto someone forever. You have to have the mindset of be financially aware on how to handle your money. And also, you have to remember that money is not just given out. It is from your hardships and thousands of your efforts. So yeah, to summarize our discussion for this podcast, we have discussed the 4 programs that our government offers in the Philippines. So we have discussed which of these programs deserves to be sustained by the government and which programs are unnecessary. And also, we would like to tell the people that Ayuda programs are really beneficial to the people who are really in need, but we have to make sure that these beneficiaries of these programs are the ones that really deserves to be part of it and are the most rightful to receive the assistance that the programs offer. And also, the government should improve the economy so that it's the people will not become over dependent on these programs and will have the initiative to also find ways to make a means to provide their family and improve their life situation.
So I think that is all.
So
That wraps our podcast.
Yes.
I believe.
we hope that everyone learned something and enjoyed listening and watching our discussions for today.
So I actually enjoyed our discussion, no?
Yeah, did you guys enjoy it?
Yes.
This has been Ronald.
Marie, Kyra,
Carla.
Aliyah, and this has been your host, Jerain. Thank you guys for watching and we hope you guys enjoyed.
Bye.